Welcome back to the channel, Kookz. Today on the Vankookz channel, we are talking about how to stay cool in these hot summers. We are going to check out this Zero Breeze. It's a portable air conditioner, so you can take it in your tent, you can take it in your van, you can put it in your tiny house. We're going to check out a couple different applications that might work for our life, and we hope it translates into figuring out if it works for your life. So let's get into it, guys. I'm so excited to open it up and see what's in it and see how it works. It is battery powered. You can also power it with a cord or a remote. I guess we'll find out what those do. It looks like a tube and some air directional things. We'll put that there. Hopefully it's not as big as the box. It's not as big as the box because that's half of the box. Ooh, I like it. Okay. This is the Zero Breeze Mark II, and they've had another one and it was much smaller, but this one I think is more powerful. So we got number 2. It's got some buttons here. It has you can blast off into outer space, it looks like. Some, cooling, some nighttime modes, a light even. Crazy. Cool. And then there's a battery. Cool. Massive battery. Here's the battery that it goes on. Looks like it has some cords for plugging it into a power source. And that's it. That's all that's in that box. To connect it to the battery, the yellow side goes in the back here. So this is the back, and it has this part here. And then it just slides into place. So once you slide the battery pack on, it's not going to be connected actually to the battery until you connect it with this cord. And it has some pretty, it looks like some pretty heavy duty connections here. All right, so on the back here where you plug in the battery is also where you'll put in your condensation tube. So it has this black part, and then it has another side where it doesn't have anything. That side is gonna go out the window or wherever you're putting it. So you just shove this side on there, and then you got your condensation tube. And then also on the back side, what these things are is these things click into place, and they are the exhaust tubes. So you will need some place for this thing to exhaust because it's a real air conditioner. It's not one of those fans. So you can have a directional, these things just twist in too. So they come like that, and then you just expand them and you twist them in. It just the way that it is, it tilts. This little fan thing tilts so you can have a directional, or if you want an actual directional, a lot of people that I've seen in the ads, they'll put this directionally face them. Or some people put it on the counter and they'll have it directionally face them while they're working at the computer or something like that. So there's many things that you can do with this. One of the downfalls of this already, just getting it out of the box, is that it is pretty massive. And that's only a downfall to us because we've already built our van and we're going to have to rearrange a lot of space to get this in there. We're going to see how much it just runs off of no battery with a kind of battery pack, see how much it draws, see how efficient it is, see if it's worth it for you guys. So let's check it out.
All right, we are here in the van. I got my Zero Breeze outtake coming out this drawer here. I got it set up in the back of the van. I have it on level 4 right now, and it's definitely blowing cold air. It's definitely blowing cold air, we could say that much, but it hasn't really cooled the van down. 82 degrees in here since I started the unit, and it's been a while. So it does provide nice directional cooling. So there we have rocket mode. You can see that. Strong. We'll use the paper towel to gauge how much more it's blowing. But you can see that's the boost mode here. Is it keeping you cool, or are you still pretty hot?
It's still pretty warm, but I can feel the cool air hitting me. The cool breeze hits my legs. Works more directionally, and when you're in its path, it feels really nice. But if you're out of its path, it takes a while for the whole van to cool.
Yeah, I'm not sure it can cool the whole van. But yeah, even standing over here, I can feel the cold coming from over here. It's definitely blowing cold air. So now let's go around, I'll show you the setup It's the only way I could really get it set up. So I just have the outtake blowing out here, and I tried to get the intake to kind of suck more under the van. Here it is. It's quite cumbersome, I shall say. But here it is. I have it all just stuffed in here. It's taking up quite a bit of space. I mean, you can see how big it is. It's been really hard for us to figure out a way to integrate this into the van. And also I can show you how much power it uses. So this is on the most powerful mode, and you can see it's pulling about 244 watts. So I only got about 51 minutes of my battery power if I was to leave it on this strong setting the whole time. This is full speed on just the cool setting, and it's pulling about 215. It's gone down a little bit, but then it'll go up a little more. And you can see here I only have 50% of my battery at 58 minutes. So I mean, I can't really power this thing that long just off of this pack. So now let's turn the speed down a little more to 2. Here you see I had it on setting 2. It's still pulling quite a bit of power, 205 watts. So not that much of a difference between 2 and 4. But yeah, the biggest concern I've had is just how much power it uses. We're gonna test it off our solar panel and full sun and see if it's more sustainable there. But just using it off of these battery packs, I think it's only gonna last about 2 hours max. If you have a good battery bank and you parked in the sun, I'm sure you wouldn't be using that much power, and we can test that scenario. But this is just the preliminary test, just out here boondocking at the campsite, Spot X, and we're just kind of getting the first impressions of this Zero Breeze. It is nice to have air conditioning, I'm not gonna lie. It has made the van a little more pleasant. It's a new day, and it's not as hot as yesterday, but it's pretty hot. It's saying it's about 88 degrees. We do have some clouds overhead. Of course, I set everything up, and then we had some clouds roll in. So we'll see if this air conditioner still can cool down the van. It says it's almost 90 degrees in here, so it's not exactly cold. So today we're gonna test the Zero Breeze, but today we're gonna test it on the battery pack. So it comes with this large battery pack here, and you can see I've got it fully charged. Also with this battery pack, it's got some USB and a USB-C, so you can charge from it. So we'll fire the unit up. Oh, and I guess I should show you my setup today. So I got a way better setup going on today. I had Danny, out of my Nomadic subscription box, make a little outlet and inlet holes that I kind of wedged in there on my window there. See, it's like fraction rolled down. But let's fire up the unit. Oh, I have to plug the battery in, so it has a battery plug. I have to do that. It also needs this little cable when you're powering the unit off of the battery. And like kind of Danny said when she opened it, this thing is very difficult to get into the slots. It has this little space, and I really struggle with it. So getting back here and doing it isn't going to be that exciting. And I say we try to give it a moderate, maybe 3, power 3, just on cool, something realistic. And we'll try to see if we can cool this van down. So I got it on level 3, just on the cool setting, and it's already coming out cool. Oh yeah, it feels really good. Makes me realize how hot the van really is when I feel that cool air. Okay, so I'm gonna run that. I'm gonna see how long the battery lasts. It's 405, and it is 87.9. There's my setup from the outside. Doesn't look too bad. So another thing to know, I'm just sitting up here in front of it. You don't have to have this directional hose on. It actually just kind of screws off. We were showing you on the unboxing. And you can just sit right in front of the unit, and then you get a nice cool breeze. And right now it's set to Celsius. I don't know why. So we got 16.7 degrees Celsius. So That's pretty cool air coming out of here. Temperature's still dropping. We're still one battery cell. It's still kicking. But yeah, you can't hear much coming out of it. It's nice and quiet. All right, we finally died. That was about 4.5 hours on setting 3. It's kind of annoying that it beeps. If you're asleep and it dies, you're gonna wake up. Alrighty, we got a full battery. That took quite some time. I ended up falling asleep, but I'm guessing it almost took around 8 hours to charge this. It is a 35 amp hour battery. So now we are going to throw our unit back on, and I'm gonna run it on rocket mode. It's much hotter today. I don't think it's gonna rain here in the next few hours, and let's see how long it lasts on rocket mode here. Let's see what happens. Turn it on, strong, and turn it all the way up, and it is 205, 206, and let's see how long this lasts today. And it's hot, so I need some much needed relief out here. It's gonna be a hot one. Danny's inside the library doing homework, and I'm out here cooking in the van, seeing how well this zero breeze works. So let's see how this goes. All right, so here's my setup today. I got my partition there, and I got my outlet coming out here, and I'm hoping that maybe blocking that front off will keep more air flowing through. The one problem is I have the heat coming in through here as well, but I can't really do anything about that. So I'm just gonna see how well this works, how long this works. It's another test to see how good this unit works. Just want to give it the best test I can for you kooks out there. But yeah, here you can see it down here coming in. I can already feel the cold air. I'm gonna shut the door and let's see if it just is more livable in here. All right, that was just under 4 hours, a little under 4 hours that it lasted. So that's pretty impressive. So on the full power, it could last up to about 4 hours. And it's gotten a little bit cooler in here, I will say. Not a lot, but that provides enough relief. I did start running my fan just to kind of get some airflow in here, but still impressed with how long that lasts. And let's charge it. Last night I didn't get to charge it and time it. Let's try to charge it again and see how long, and then let's get the final review of this. So the Zero Breeze battery took about 8 hours. That's a long time to charge. It is a massive battery, but now I'm out here, I'm installing some new electronics in the van. I'll link the videos to all this. But I got the Zero Breeze, and this is a great use for this unit that I just discovered while out here. If I can plug the Zero Breeze in, and I know I'll get about 3 or 4 hours of cool air on high speed, and I'm just kind of blowing it back over to my workstation, and it's so much more bearable. The van is at, you can see here, 91 degrees, but down here where I'm working, it actually feels nice and air conditioned. And here's my setup. I just kind of have it blowing the hot air out the back. I don't need to set it up too much because the door's open. But yeah, it's working pretty good. That's another use for it. If you're working on your van conversion, or you're working in hot vehicles or anything without air conditioning, you know you can get about 3 or 4 hours of cool air. It's probably worth plugging in the battery and just getting that cool air. So it's working great. What I'm doing now is I've shown it really run off the battery. I've yet to run it off of my own batteries here. So I have 400 amp hour lithium batteries. I have the Zero Breeze blowing out, and I'm just seeing how much strain or how much it puts on my battery. So I have it on strong, setting 4, and I'm at about 11 amps and rising. We'll see when it stops. All right, we are staying in around the 21 amp range here. And let's see if my battery's dropped a little bit, a few percentages there. So luckily I'm getting plenty of solar power. But here you can see it's about 22 amps. That's on the strongest setting. It wasn't much less on the lower settings though. So I'm just going to wait a little longer and see if it gets any higher, but it's kind of been floating around this range. 23, that's the highest I've seen it get. So yeah, you could technically run this off your battery bank, especially in a full sun day like today, you're just going to be kind of, you know, boosting that power and using it as it's being used. But that's another way to use it, and I hadn't been able to show you that until I installed this monitor. So yeah, that's another addition. You'll just need an inverter and a fairly decent battery bank. So that's another way, and I think that's probably the best way because it's so much lighter without the battery. I'm gonna test one more setting I've yet to test, and that's the fan setting. Fan, we're barely pulling anything, but it's not really doing too much. It's blowing just kind of the residual of that cool air we just had going through. But it's definitely blowing about as hard as it would with the air conditioner, but it's not really doing much. All right, you kooks, we've put this Zero Breeze to the test. It definitely works really well as a personal cooling system. It is not going to cool your van down. It doesn't push enough BTUs, but it definitely helps yourself in a hot environment. Like for example, in those last clips, I was using it in that hot space, and it was nice to work in the van and actually be able to tolerate it without being dripped in sweat like I'm at some type of Russian bathhouse sauna. So it was nice to use it in that situation.
I'm excited because we sold most of our stuff for Burning Man, like our yurt and everything, so we can still utilize this when we're at Burning Man in the van. And then we can also use it, we want a tiny home. The Zero Breeze would work in that application as well. And it's just so hard to find portable air conditioners for the van that have their own power pack. So it had its own power pack and it lasted quite a long time. Like you kept going out there and checking, and it would not die. So that's awesome. And
yeah, I was very impressed with this 35 amp hour battery bank that it comes with. It can power the unit on a medium setting for almost 5 hours, and that's very incredible, seeing that it's pulling about 200 continuous watts. So the battery bank, when I ran it on its own battery power, I was actually a lot more impressed with the unit. It started to make a lot more sense that you can power it for 4 or so hours off the battery pack. Like in a Burning Man situation, we would use it with a generator, so it would work in that case. But it does draw a lot of power, and that is, like, of course it's going to draw a lot of power, right? It's an air conditioner, and it does work if we power it off our solar panel in the van. It works in that instance, but it's just not providing enough. But it's definitely helps. It helped, right?
yeah, and I think that's the best time to use it, when it's hot, when the sun is high in the air. So it kind of makes sense, you know, that it uses so much power, but usually you have so much floating power anyways in your battery banks that it doesn't really matter. Like, use the energy to cool you down if that's what you need to do, you know?
Yeah, great point. So if you were at a national park and you had a pet and you couldn't take it and it was hot, you could definitely set up some intake and out and exhaust like I had out the window, and you could power that thing as long as the sun's out. The dog would, or whatever, I've seen crazy pets in these vans,
yeah.
could just sit right in front of the unit, and I think it would be lifesaver in that instance.
Yeah, I think that's such a good point. We go to a lot of national parks. Once you get your pass, you're like, let's go to all of them. And we have some friends that have dogs and stuff, and they realize, I can only go on like a 2-hour hike because I got to come back and make sure my dog isn't like melting in the sun. So if you had one of these, it's a lifesaver for having a pet and being able to explore national parks, because that's really the downfall. That's reason number 962 why we don't have a pet.
Yeah. It's not like the most cumbersome unit. It is quite large, but if you were going to incorporate this in the beginning of your van build, I think it would be great. It works great. It kept me cool. I wasn't even sweating. I'm hotter here in the shop.
Yeah, we should turn it on.
And I've actually been using it just here working in the shop when it's hot, and it works great. Like, I'd never really thought of it as that type of unit, but it's honestly like an amazing tool if you're like a contractor, or you're working in attics, or you're working in places with no air conditioning, or you're working on cars that are broken down. You know, you can get about 4.5 hours of cool air blowing on you, and that was great, and I am loving it for that reason. I'm stoked on it. We have some really good deals in the description. Click on the links, help us out, and click our affiliate links, And yeah, there's some great deals going on with Zero Breeze right now, so check them out.
Thanks for watching, guys. And if you have any tips, if you've had a Zero Breeze before, have any tips to elongate the battery or anything like that, any kind of tips, we'll take them down in the comments. And thanks for watching, and like, subscribe to all the cool YouTube things.
Yeah, guys, see you soon.
Peace out, Kookz.